The message from my friend looked innocent at first. He told me he had set me up on a blind date and promised that the girl was kind, sweet, and perfect for me. I laughed when I read it, thinking it was just another harmless joke between friends. But when I finally met her that afternoon in a quiet park cafe, my chest tightened and my smile froze. The girl sitting across from me had deep burn scars covering half of her face. For a moment, I felt something shameful rise inside me, confusion, shock, and an instinctive urge to leave. Before I could even hide it, she looked straight at me and softly said something that would echo in my mind for the rest of my life. She asked me, with calm but painful honesty, if appearance was really that important. Before we continue this emotional story, if you believe that kindness and second chances still matter in this world, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the channel, Touch of Kindness. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts. My name is Arman Halevi, and until that day, I had always believed I was a decent person. I worked as a graphic designer in a busy city studio, lived in a small apartment filled with plants, and spent most of my weekends with friends or exploring coffee shops around town. Life wasn't extraordinary, but it was comfortable. I had dated before, but none of those relationships lasted long. I often told myself that I was simply waiting for the right person, someone who would fit perfectly into the picture of the life I imagined. The friend who set me up, Rafiq Dostan, was known for his mischievous humor. When he told me about the blind date, he refused to show me a photo of the girl. He only said that her name was Zahra Naveed and that she was different in the best way. I assumed he meant she had a unique personality or an interesting career. I never imagined what he actually meant. That afternoon sunlight poured through the glass windows of the park cafe, warming the wooden tables and casting soft shadows across the floor. Families walked along the pathways outside, children laughed near the fountain, and birds fluttered between the trees. It felt like the perfect setting for a relaxed first meeting. But the moment I spotted Zahra sitting alone at the corner table, everything inside me shifted. Half of her face carried the unmistakable marks of severe burns. The skin was uneven and pale in places, darker and textured in others. One eyebrow was missing, and part of her hairline was thinner on that side. My mind reacted before my heart could catch up. I froze for a second longer than I should have. She noticed. Her eyes, clear, steady, and surprisingly gentle, met mine as I slowly approached the table. I could feel embarrassment burning in my chest because I knew my reaction had betrayed my thoughts. I sat down awkwardly, trying to regain control of my expression, but the silence between us felt heavy. Then she spoke those words that would change me forever. She asked if appearance was really that important. The question was not angry or bitter. It was calm, almost tired, as if she had asked it 1,000 times before and already knew the answer most people would give. I tried to laugh it off at first. I told her that my friend hadn't warned me about the blind date and that I had simply been surprised. But even as the words left my mouth, they sounded weak and hollow. Zahra didn't argue. She simply nodded and looked out toward the trees in the park. There was something incredibly composed about her, something that made me realize she had long ago learned how to survive moments like this. The conversation that followed started stiff and uncomfortable, but slowly it began to shift. She told me she worked as a children's art instructor at a community center. Her passion was helping kids express themselves through drawing and painting, especially those who struggled with confidence. When she talked about her work, her eyes lit up with genuine excitement. As she spoke, I found myself listening more carefully than I had expected. Her voice carried warmth and intelligence, and her laughter, when it came, felt real and effortless. At some point, curiosity replaced my awkwardness. I asked her about the burns, unsure whether the question was appropriate. She paused for a moment, but instead of shutting down, she answered with honesty. Years earlier, when she was just 17, a fire had broken out in her family's home. It started in the kitchen late at night when a faulty gas line ignited. While everyone else escaped, Zahra had run back inside to help her younger brother, who had been trapped in his room. She managed to save him. But the flames had reached her before she could get out. The injuries required months of hospital treatment and several surgeries. The physical pain was terrible, she said, but what came afterward was even harder. Friends who once laughed with her stopped calling. Strangers stared at her in public. Some people avoided sitting near her on buses or in waiting rooms. Listening to her story made something uncomfortable twist inside my chest. I realized that just an hour earlier, I had nearly become one of those people. As the afternoon moved forward, the sunlight outside softened into a golden glow. Our conversation slowly grew easier. Zahra told funny stories about the kids she taught at the art center. She described how one little girl insisted on painting purple giraffes and orange clouds because normal colors are boring. I caught myself smiling more than once. What surprised me most was how little Zahra seemed to pity herself. She spoke about the fire as something that had changed her life, but not something that defined her entire identity. When the date ended, I expected that we would both politely go our separate ways and never see each other again. Instead, she thanked me for staying and having a real conversation. That simple sentence hit me harder than any accusation could have. In the following days, I couldn't stop thinking about her. Not the scars, at least not in the way I first had, but the quiet strength she carried. The way she looked people in the eye even when they stared back with discomfort. The way she laughed so freely despite everything she had endured. A week later, I visited the community art center where she worked. The building was small and colorful, with bright murals painted across the walls. Inside, children sat around tables covered in paper, brushes, and paint jars. Zahra moved between them with patience and encouragement, helping one boy mix colors while praising another girl's drawing of a lopsided house. Something about that scene changed how I saw her completely. She wasn't just someone who had survived a tragedy. She was someone who had transformed that pain into compassion. Over the next few months, we began meeting more often. Sometimes for coffee, sometimes for long walks through the park. I slowly realized that the more time I spent with Zahra, the less I noticed the scars at all. Instead, I noticed the way she tilted her head when listening carefully. The way her smile widened when she felt truly happy. The quiet determination she carried in everything she did. One evening, as we sat watching the sunset over the river, she admitted something that caught me off guard. She said she had almost canceled our first date. Not because she was afraid of me, but because she was tired of seeing disappointment on people's faces when they first met her. Hearing that filled me with a deep sense of regret. I remembered my own reaction that day and realized I had been exactly the kind of person she feared meeting. But life has a strange way of teaching us the lessons we need most. Over time, Zahra's presence in my life changed how I viewed not only beauty but also courage, resilience, and kindness. She showed me that the most remarkable qualities in a person are often invisible at first glance. Years later, I would still remember the moment she asked me that question in the cafe. Was appearance really that important? The answer, I eventually learned, was far simpler than I had once believed. No. What truly matters is the strength of someone's heart, the kindness they share with the world, and the way they choose to keep loving life even after it has tried to break them. If this story has touched your heart so far, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who needs a reminder about kindness, and subscribe to the channel, Touch of Kindness. And before we reach the end, I have a special request for you. Please write in the comments, "True beauty comes from the heart." Your words might inspire someone who is struggling today. Looking back now, I sometimes wonder what would have happened if I had walked away from that cafe table the moment I saw Zahra's scars. I would have missed the chance to meet one of the bravest, kindest people I have ever known. But thankfully, I stayed.